course in Searles, and I want to talk to you about thinking versus doing when it comes to hockey development. So if you don't know me, I own Identity 2.0, and I created the program Identity 2.0 that works on all these things to give players the tools that I wish I had. I wish that I understood more than just the skill part of the game. I wish I understood the mental game better earlier on, had been able to play at the level I think I could have played, and would have really made a big difference for me. So I make this stuff for you guys to try to help as best I can and build all my programs out for players to get to the level that they want to get to. Be able to just figure out how good you really can be, and not just be hopeful that you hopefully hope that you make the NHL, or hope that something happens. Like, really know, okay, like, I did everything. I had all of the mental barriers unlocked, and I found my true potential. You don't want to have regrets. So that's why I built this. All right, so regardless, thinking versus doing, like, what am I talking about? So there is a huge difference between thinking about something, especially when it comes to the mental game, than actually doing the work. So when you think about something, like, you conceptualize it. You build this kind of idea of what it's like. So when it comes to like meditation, people come up with this idea of what it's like to meditate, what it's like to be present, but it's just not a real thing. You don't really know what it's like to be present until you are present. You only experience it when you get there, when you actually tap into having your mind free of all the clutter and you feel that like peace, that flow state. So it doesn't matter how much you conceptualize and think about it. It's just as valuable as me like writing like present, right? Like, sure, like, it's really cool I did that, but it doesn't, like, that doesn't make me present just because I like wrote it down. And a lot of players are the type of players who think like, oh yeah, like, if I just like think all the time about hockey, like, well, I'm a great hockey player. But it's not just thinking, it's doing. It's actually like the quality of the reps. So instead of just watching hockey and like trying to absorb it subconsciously, that's something you can do supplementally. But when it comes to the mental game, you want to be doing other stuff. What am I saying when I say like doing? Well, you want to be actually practicing these things mentally, actually going through and programming these neural links in. We talked about neural links in one of the last episodes, or the last videos we did. And like, you can't become a great player if you don't do the things you need to do. And this is more of like a motivational thing than anything. And getting this out of your head as a player that like, just because I like think it means I'm going to get better. It's just not how things work. And you don't transform unless you do it. So if you want the mental game to be something that makes a massive difference, don't just say, hey, I'm going to work on my mental game this summer. Get to the end of the summer and you meditated 3 times and you visualized once. Like, I've done that before. Like, when I first learned about the mental game and really thought about it, I started doing that. And yeah, it's like good to have it and to think it, but like, you're talking about like a, say, on a scale, like, you're talking about, like this much improvement versus like, that, right? Like, you're talking about, it's supposed to be like 10x, just say that's 10 times the improvement. Like, you may put in, you might put in 10 times the effort, but you're going to get, like, it could be more than 10x. You could get like 100 times the improvement out of that summer, because that may be the thing you were missing. Like, if you're listening and you're that player who you're like really skilled, but there's something missing, it's probably the mental side of it. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. It's probably just mental. You're probably missing something psychologically. And it's not like missing something like you're dumb. It's probably missing something like you don't have you have like a certain mental block that's in the way. Like, there's like this huge fear that literally like stands between you and driving the net. Like, that's like a thing. That's like a really common one. Like, there's this fear, like blocking. Sorry, there's going to be like dogs might start barking. But there's like a block physically in front of you from being able to get to the net. And it's not the defender. It's you. It's not even you. It's like an actual physical thing that exists in your brain. And that thing in your brain is literally going to stop you from scoring 5-10 goals extra this year, next year. or whenever you're watching this, maybe it's this season. But like, think about that. Like, it's so crazy to think, like, just one mental block, that might be the thing that's stopping you from scoring 10 more goals. And 10 more goals, if you scored 30 last year and you score 40 next year, or if you scored 10 this year and you doubled your output and you got 20, that could be the difference between you playing D3 and D1. That could be the difference between you going to a mediocre pro team and a top pro team. Because that extra 10 goals could put you from being middle of the pack in the or maybe like, you know, like the top third of the group, to you could lead the whole league in scoring. Like, that's the difference. Like, 10 goals could be you being the guy that everybody looks at the stats and like in the league, and you're that guy, you're that girl who's number one. Like, that could be the difference. Like, it's a dramatic difference, but it could be the difference of, you know, even 5 goals. Like, could put you like 50th versus number one. Like, I don't know. Like, just conceptually, if you look at the NHL, like a guy who has 30 goals versus a guy who has 35, like there might be a million guys that have like approximately like, you know, 25 to 30. So if you were in that range, you have 5 more. Now you're out of that pocket. Now you're pushing into a whole new realm. And that's, again, like, it's just so massive. But people don't realize that it could be one mental block. So you spend 6 weeks. You go through the identity course, or you go through identity training in general. You unblock that one thing potentially. It could be 4 or 5 things, and they can unlock 20 goals, 30 goals. Like, you don't know. But if you go through those and you unlock them, now you have this whole new performance that just exists that otherwise wouldn't have. And it wasn't because you were doing something. It wasn't because you were like missing something. It wasn't because you didn't have the skills or the ability. Like, you've probably scored a bunch of goals in practice before, and you have the ability to score on a goalie. You've scored goals in games, I'm sure, before. And if you can't figure out what the problem is, it's probably because you're just not actually doing the things you know to do. And if you don't know what to do, then that's a whole different thing, and that's more where the hockey sense thing comes in. But regardless, like, you got to practice this stuff. You got to actually go in and do the mental stuff. Like, stop convincing yourself that just because you like considered it, oh, well, I thought about it. I thought that I said I'd have a good season, good off season, and you didn't do anything mentally. Like, it's just, you're going to still have that fear. You're going to have that doubt. You're going to be anxious before the games and not play the way you could have. And you're going to miss out on potentially like a whole different experience of hockey. Like, you go from being in the middle of the team in goals or in points to being the team leader or the league leader. Like, that transforms the way your whole year goes. That transforms your career if you have one big year. So, like, why not make it next season? Why not that be next season be the year? And prepare. So, like, prepare yourself. Like, not preparing is preparing to fail. So prepare. Do everything you can. This is why we built Identity 2.0. So, like, either join us, like, come do our programs, go do somebody else's programs. I know, like, there's a bunch of different stuff. I think, like, Pro Hockey Training or the Train 2.0 has good stuff. Like, a bunch of people, like, people who I'd consider, like, competitors. Like, I don't care. Like, just go do somebody's stuff. Like, just stop lying to yourself. Like, actually show up and be confident next year, and then play the way that you feel you're going to play because you prepared and you did the stuff, and just have fun. Like, in the end, like, just, you're going to enjoy hockey so much more if you play the way you want to play. Like, it's not fun showing up to the rink and sucking. Like, no one has like the worst game of their life and are like, yeah, I love myself today. It's, you love yourself more when you play better. Like, you realize after going through more mental stuff, you can get past that too. But as a basis, like, you want to be good. You want to be the best player. You want to find like the joy and enjoyment and excitement about playing. Just put time into your mental game. Like, I don't know what else to say. So just do that. I promise you it'll make a difference. It's going to be 10x, 100x if you do all this stuff next season. So leave a comment if you want to talk more about anything specifically you see here we talked about, or if you liked it, like it, comment, whatever. And send me a message if you want to work with us, if you want to learn more about what we're doing. Happy to hop on a coaching call and see if you're a good fit, first of all, because we definitely don't just accept everybody. But at the same time, like what do you want to do? It's up to you. So I hope this helps. I hope this motivates you to want to actually take your game on fully and love the game and be the best player you can be. And if not, no worries. Like, do whatever you want. But I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.